Welcome everyone to the Christmas edition Promo Republic franchise marketing trends in 2023. I hope you're having a great holiday season so far. We've got some exciting people that are going to enlighten your lives with franchise marketing information today. And I'll go ahead and lead us off. So my name is Madeline Park. I'm sure most of you have seen me bugging you on your LinkedIn. So kind of Promo Republic to make me a reindeer. Lovely. I am the CMO at Threshold Brands in the greater PA locations, meaning I am a franchisee of 4 brands, and we've got about 20 units in the Philadelphia area. Also a former franchisor with Threshold Brands, and I'm the director of marketing at NetSertive that does marketing for franchise brands. So really have kind of a holistic view of everything. And then next up, we have, of course, Angela, the CMO of Buzz Franchise Brands. Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, thanks, Maddie. Well, I work for Buzz Franchise Brands.
Muted. Maybe?
Am I?
Not muted?
Ashley looks like she can hear
me. I can hear.
Oh, yeah, I can. Go ahead. It's working.
Okay, great. Well, I work with Buzz Franchise Brands. We are a multi-brand franchising company, and our brands are all in the service space. So we have Pool Scouts, which is residential pool cleaning, Home Clean Heroes, residential house cleaning, British Swim School, which is water safety and swim instruction, and Grand Illuminations, which is a holiday lighting company. And my responsibilities really span all areas of marketing, from franchise development to consumer and brand level marketing as well.
Sorry, guys. Audio issues. All right, we're back. I was like, the music is going to take over. It's going to be a thing. All right. And then next up, we have Ashley Mitchell, the marketing exec at Streamline Brands. Ashley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I have been in marketing my entire career. Started with the Walt Disney Company out of college. So oversaw everything that Disney touched in Michigan and Northern Ohio. From there, I fell into franchising, as most people do. And in my current role at Streamline, so Streamline is the largest franchisor and operator of swim schools. So we have 5 swim school brands operating as Safe Splash, Safety Swim, Swimtastic, Swim Labs, and Miller Swim School. So I oversee all things marketing, similar to Angela, for consumer, franchise development, mergers and acquisitions, and all things in between.
Perfect. I think you've said that bio just once or twice before.
Maybe a couple.
And next up, we have Aisha, the CEO at American Franchise Academy. Aisha, I think this is our first webinar together, so I'm excited. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Oh, and you are muted for real this time.
There you go. I'm there. Sorry about that. Yes, and I'm a little different. I am a 30+ year executive in the franchise industry. I spend a third of my life running operations, managing regions and units, franchises, or corporate units. Another third in the corporate headquarters for brands like Domino's Pizza, Popeyes, Olive Garden, etc. And the other third, actually going around the world. I lived in 14 countries, helping master franchisees or opening the first and few units of brands abroad. And the last 6 years, we have dedicated our lives to sharing the knowledge that we have acquired with franchisees on how they can implement business systems so that they can be successful with the franchise they buy into. And so that's what I'm doing. I have written 2 books. One is called The Franchise Fix, and the second one is a multi-unit franchise mastery. And all we do is we protect the American dream of business ownership through franchising every day.
Awesome. Well, I don't know how much I'd have to bribe you to come and help me with our franchise locations, but I have a lot of alcohol and cookies around. No, but that's really great and such a different take on a dedication to franchising. So excited to hear from you. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Glenn, the CDO at Generator Supercenter Franchising. Glenn, how are you?
Doing extremely well. Just an incredible honor to be with all the panel guests today. Aisha, I gotta tell you, I saw Louisiana, Popeyes, chicken. That gets me fired up because I'm originally from New Orleans. So, and I still am a huge fan of Popeyes here in Houston. But no, my name is Glenn Langang, and I have the distinct honor of working for an incredible franchise called Generator Supercenter. And so we started franchising in 2018. So right at 4 years now, we have 92 locations, 92 territories that are sold, about 40 that are open, and just incredibly excited about the future. And it's just great to be with you all. I guess I should say I was in the commodities world. I took a step of faith and wanted to open my own business. This was 20 years ago or so, and opened a franchise, and it was a restaurant. I never worked a day in my life in the restaurant industry, and I just followed the process that the franchisor set forth, and it worked out well for us, and we bought and sold it and made a little bit of money. And what I learned from that experience is everything is franchisable. Everything is reproducible. If you could teach me how to run a restaurant, man, the sky's the limit. And from that experience, I became enamored with franchising. I love entrepreneurs. I love people that have a dream and go for it to achieve it. And so just excited to be with you today. Let's have a great time.
That's awesome. So we will hop right into it. And Angela, I'm going to start with you since I feel like I talk to you on a webinar every day. So I'm just like, we're besties. I'm going to start with her. What were your major challenges in 2022? And what takeaways are you going to carry over into the new year?
Yeah, so with this question, I'm going to take it a little bit away from marketing because honestly, our major challenges were less around marketing and more around supply chain and staffing, which I think is pretty common. I'm seeing a lot of head nods here. So, that does obviously affect marketing. We would certainly be pivoting our marketing programs throughout the year as, franchisees couldn't get vehicles or were short-staffed or whatever the case may have been. We had to be staying very much in tune communication-wise to deal with that and be prepared to make adjustments quickly. As far as takeaways go, I think, it's really been about developing more redundancies in partnerships and suppliers and being able to take more lead time into account on certain things that we needed. We'll certainly be looking towards some of our partners when it comes to developing staffing or dealing with the staffing issues. So we have some great partnerships with companies like Indeed and Glassdoor and CareerPlug and some others that are sort of very on top of best practices in that space. And so leaning on them as we go into 2023 and building some new programs to help support franchisees in those challenges. And certainly that carries into marketing as we develop more and more marketing collateral and campaigns, specifically around hiring and recruiting.
Sorry, I had a wiener dog that was going to bark unless he was in my lap. No, I agree. And I think what we saw too was, and then this is carried over from 2020, is that one of the marketing pipelines or verticals, I should say, has moved from what used to be, I feel like, Fran Dev, consumer brand, and also opening up to the employee pipeline, having to really beef that marketing vertical up instead of just putting Indeed ads up. Ashley, you're nodding your head, and I'm always curious about the staffing that it has for you guys, because not only are you working with kids, but you're working with kids in water, and you've got coaches, and there's a million different aspects there. So how did that translate for you?
Yeah, I was going to say, Angela totally stole mine. This was definitely our major challenge as well, because it's one of those things where like our people are our product. It's not, we did have some of the supply chain issues as well with our facilities. So now we do things that might be considered crazy and have extra pump room supplies that we don't need, because if something breaks in that room and then you can't run your pool, then obviously that's a big issue. So we have, some of those things from a supply chain perspective, you have to think, further ahead. But the people teaching the lessons, it's not only that we had to, take what we were doing and, to Angela's point, pivot our strategy to make sure that we're looking at hiring, we don't want to do just, demand driving things on the consumer side. If we don't have people to actually teach, then it doesn't matter. We have 100 leads that we can't do anything with. So making sure that balance was there, but then also making sure franchisees understand that we still have to do the consumer marketing as well, even though yes, we have to do the staffing one, but you can't just let that drop. And then from a training perspective, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway too, is that we needed to make sure that our training was so buttoned up and that we could get people trained as fast as possible, but they have to also be trained to be as safe as possible and, deliver the experience. We couldn't just hire any warm body to do this because your people are trusting their child in a pool with your instructor. So that's something that we really had to make our training program a lot more robust, I would say, and making sure that we have all of those I's dotted and T's crossed, because we had to get people trained as soon as we could get them. We had to get them trained as fast as possible and then not take away from the premier experience that people expect.
Yeah, and I think that really goes to the importance of not only just getting employees, but getting the right employees, because not only are you having to, pay to get them, you're paying to train them, and everyone knows it's, cheaper to retain a good employee than to get new ones. So, when you look at it at the perspective of a bad candidate in a pool with an infant is really bad, because when we say, the bad home cleaner, is like, maybe she didn't scrub the toilet enough. But when you're in pools, I know Buzz Franchise Brands has a swim school as well. That's a difference there. Glenn, so moving away from kids and more in the generator sector, did you guys feel this as well, or were there different challenges for 2022 you guys saw?
It was certainly a challenge, and still is. And one thing about the franchise industry, and it's so exciting that we can do this, is they were collaboratively made up of just some incredibly resilient, out of the box thinkers that I believe we can all add value to one another. So one of the things we did in terms of this, the lack of workers, if you will, staffing, is we will birth this next year. We're starting a generator supercenter university, is what we're calling it, and it's we're blessed to be in an environment where people can literally grow up in terms of electricians, from a journeyman to an apprentice to a journeyman to a one day hopefully a master. And we encourage that. We want to see the growth because we want people to be with us, obviously, for the long run, and all with all of our franchisees. But I would say, just pivoting a little bit, one of the major, in terms of marketing and development, one of the major challenges that we uncovered last year was the incredible importance of data, but not only just having the data, actually doing something with it and understanding the metrics that really matter. And so we spent a lot of time here in this year of figuring out, simple things that I'm sure everyone does. What is our actually cost per lead? What's our cost per territory awarded? Those type of things. And then a number of other things that we feel are extremely important to our continued growth, to make sure that we're putting money in the right areas to attract the partners that we desire.
Yeah, and I think that is something that I'm sure a lot of us deal with, is we have the numbers, or we get the numbers and we clean up the numbers, and then it's what do we do with the numbers? So always, making sure that you're being able to apply them to the most recent trends and data is super important. And it's nice to know that other people are constantly in that revolving door as well. And Aisha, I finish with you because master operations here, what are you seeing across the board in terms of what these challenges are for franchise brands, and how are you coaching them through it to better their brand for the next year? Muted.
He's definitely been, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to keep
good.
it clean. It definitely has been a challenge. In the academy, we focus on franchisees. That's who our client is. We work with mostly multi-unit franchisees in the franchise world across industry. So we have definitely food service is our strength, but we have personal service. We have a lot of children's franchises and academies. And like I said, personal service 101. And obviously staffing is a tremendous issue. What we have been working with our franchisees is in solving that, not only by changing the mantra. The mantra used to be hire slow, fire fast. And now it's opposite, is hire fast and fire slow. And because if we don't hire fast, then we might lose the opportunity, because people then turn around and by the time you call them back, they already got a job somewhere else. So you got to do it fast, not ignoring the process to still select the right people. But then fire slow, and by identifying why they're not performing, so that maybe we can help them change that behavior and retain them, because retention now has grown into a huge importance level. And so we're focusing more on the retention and by building a culture, career path, development programs, opportunities for growth, recognition, all kinds of really cultural strategic initiatives that are being developed and implemented in a consistent way in our franchisees, organizations. And I would tell you that is critical. It has been critical this all 2022. The people that are not working on that culture part are just doing the revolving door, working more on hiring and rehiring rather than looking at the retention that is so important. Employer branding is something that's going to be critical, and we're franchisors. Anybody that I work with, I actually was at the Emerging Franchisor Conference a few weeks ago, and one of the discussions is, please, employer branding. When you're spending your money on marketing, not just on the promotion or initiative, but please employer branding so that your brand is attractive across all your units to help the franchisees with hiring. So that's what we're seeing in the area of staffing, and absolutely inflation, supply chain. This is the thing, right? With the lack of staffing, sales have not really been that much of an issue in, most of the franchise brands that I have been working with. Is being able to capture and maximize the opportunities that have happened that has been an issue because of the lack of staffing. This weekend I went to Florida and I still saw units with closed lobbies because they cannot handle it because of the lack of people. And it's just been a real challenge. And so what's happening is what closed lobbies become storage units. Speaking what Ashley was saying about buying supplies and products for future use, guess what? A lot of franchisees' lobbies are being used to do just that. They are hoarding supplies that they have been shortage in the past, so that whatever customers they do have and they can service, they don't have to say that they don't have something. The second thing with the inflation and supply chain comes to inflation. A big challenge has been not being able to keep up with the increasing prices along with the increased cost, because then what is happening is a big slowdown in transaction count because of that increases. And so our franchisees are balancing, how much can we actually take on price and manage and reducing the cost is not even enough to be able to compensate for the increase of the cost of goods that's happening. And so that has been a tremendous challenge for 2022, and what we have been working with our clients on all year long and probably continue in 2023.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think that was really important to bring to light some of the other hot topics that especially franchisees feel that we might not necessarily feel as deep on the franchisor level. And I think it's important to note that when you say fire slow, that doesn't mean like leave an employee that's a cancer to just continue growing. It means, train them and fix the problems. Obviously, if there's an employee that has a bad attitude, that's just never going to turn it around, that's okay to let go quickly. What we mean by fire slow is, make sure if they can be fixed, if they can be trained better, if they can be coached better for a different, personality sector, what have you, to take the time to do that. So I just wanted to call that out as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next up, part 2, what are 3 hot local marketing trends in your industry and how will your team implement them next year? Ashley, I'm going to start with you, because for swim schools, it seems like, I'm a parent and water safety is always a hot topic. So I would assume that always trying to rejuvenate your marketing sectors to be fun and exciting for franchisees can be a bit tricky. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that balance of water safety and then the fun and experience, and how do you get across the point that it's important from a safety aspect, but also it's not scary and it can be fun and all of that, and how you tie that messaging together. And so that's our biggest thing for next year, is really just diving deeper into our messaging and making it more emotional, getting to doing everything from the perspective of the parent, so that the parent can see themselves in one of our swim schools, and how are they going to feel when they see their child accomplish something. So whether they're proud, or whether they're the child is proud that they accomplished something, or the parent feels good about themselves because they're giving the skill of safety to their family so that they can go on a vacation and things like that. We're also taking that messaging even to the employee side. And so all of our employee messaging is going back to like, how do you recruit those quality people? What do we want employees to know that they get out of being a swim instructor that is different than just a job? It's not just a swim instructor, that you get to impact the lives of all of these children. And so taking all of that and tying that messaging together is something that's really important. And then also like making it just authentic and something that doesn't feel like marketing for things in the local level. Like we want them just to feel natural and something that is not overtly salesy. Obviously, that's the goal, is to get them in and get them, to convert and actually become a customer, but we don't want it to feel that way. So how do you marry that together where there's an action with it, but it's something that it just seems like something natural that they should do? And then making sure we give all of those tools to the franchisees, and that they then have to understand how do they implement it in their market, because every market's a little bit different. That message is not going to be globally the same everywhere at all times. So that's one thing that, that's always in franchising, but how do we take it and take these brand messages and what we know that we want to say, but then empower the franchisee to actually go out and do it for what makes sense for their neighborhood.
I love that. And, for a quick kind of example for what Ashley's talking about, some people implement, the giveaways or your leave behinds and that sort of marketing that, isn't so salesy, but it still has your logo on it. And I always say when franchises ask me, what should I do? What should I hand out? I'm like, give away a free t-shirt. Because honestly, ask yourself, when was the last time you threw out a t-shirt? T-shirts don't get thrown out. Like, I'm 7 months pregnant and I'm huge. And I think I had like a supplier shirt on from the IFA in like 2018. And I was like, it fits. So when in doubt, free t-shirts all the way. So Glenn, now I'm also awaiting a generator, super center t-shirt. I want one, and it has to have your face on it with the generator. But
wow. With a stocking on my head, or
right? So
no, we will make that happen. I'll connect with you after. We'll send
I'm so excited. It's got to be like an XXL though.
By the way, congrats.
Thank
super
you. Thank
pumped
you.
for you.
Yeah, if I jump off, it's because I have to throw up, because I've been throwing up nonstop for 7 months, but it's fine. It's fine. Less about my bodily habits and more about what's a hot local marketing for a generator, because sometimes in home brands like I own, like home cleaning and like gutter cleaning, that's not sexy, but you figure out how to market it. To be honest, a generator product is probably the least sexual thing you could buy. So how do you make it sexy and make people want to buy it and make people want to use your franchise and all of that?
Well, I've never heard it put that way, but I concur. It is the least sexual product.
If my husband buys me a generator, it's not going to be good. It'll be good when the lights go out, but
so to your point, because I feel like we can continue on this rabbit hole, and I want to keep us on track. So what we did, we decided to make a business decision a long time ago. You won't see any lightning bolts in our ads. You won't see any scare tactics of a hurricane coming or whatever the case may be. We truly want to provide peace of mind. And so we want to make a connection with our consumers And that's why we have what we call a showroom experience, because many people don't understand or aren't fully educated at the moment on generators. And so we create that experience where grandparents can come in and feel safe and just be educated on our product. The reality is we have a lot of folks that quite simply have to have generators. Their kids may be sick, whatever the case may be. So we want to hear what their needs are, what their desires are, but we don't use any frightening tactics. We don't use scare tactics. We truly want to build a customer for life. And we feel the best way to go about that, and it's been successful for us, is by creating, I believe Ashley said this, but truly creating a little bit of an emotional tie. Families, playing a board game, lights go out, generator pops on, they get back to family night. But it's really that peace of mind that we really are strategic in expressing to everyone across the nation.
And I love that. And that's such a good call out, because you hear so many times in marketing, pain point. And a lot of people think pain, they think scary, they think, like you said, hurricane, what have you. But, there's different ways to go about that without having to inflict, trauma clients. So I look forward to seeing the ads next year. And Angela, I don't want to call on you because you guys just acquire cool brands. Like you just acquired that the light, what is the light brand called now? The holiday lights?
Grand Illuminations.
Yeah, Grand Illuminations, which is just cool. And I want my house to look like that, but I'll call on you anyway. So aside from just acquiring cool brands, what are some things that you're going to coach your franchisees through next year?
Yeah, well, I think this is kind of a good circle back, because we've got the swim school and the home service or home focused brands to kind of tie it all together. But I think, what really comes to mind to me is the events and the partnerships, and really kind of the people aspect of the brand. So I think in different ways, Ashley and Glenn both touched on this, but it's about the relationship. And at a local level, people want to be doing business with people and not with some just generic brand. And we've come off a couple years where there weren't a lot of events happening and people weren't wanting to get out there and shake hands and be meeting new people in the same way as they had in the past. So I think we've kind of had this excuse of, oh, well, there are no events for me to be participating in. Sometimes that's out of franchisees' comfort zones to be going out and participating in those sorts of things. And so I think going into the next year, it's going to be really important to start that up again. Events are back and people are excited about it. And so making sure that we've got our franchisees prepared to find what those events are. If they're not comfortable with participating, or they're not the right person to be participating, one of the things that we always try to make sure our franchisees understand is it's okay at the end of the day if that's not your comfort zone. But if it's not, you need to have somebody in your organization that it is, so you can send that person out to be the one at the event. Because if you're forcing yourself to go and you stand behind a table or whatever it may be and you're not interacting, you're wasting your money. But if you've got someone out there that's come up with some cool ways to interact with people at the event, or who is comfortable going up and either cold calling or going to an office where there's opportunities to develop partnerships, those are the people that you want tackling that. And from a corporate standpoint, I think it was Ashley that mentioned just really empowering the franchisees. And that's our job, is to make sure, okay, we're going to make it as easy as possible. You're the one that's in your local market, but at the end of the day is the one that's going to need to go to the event or initiate the partnership conversation. But we can help support you with messaging for that. We can help support you with specific marketing collateral for that. We can provide you a presentation to give at a BNI or a Chamber of Commerce meeting or something like that. There's a lot of ways that we can support and empower, but at the end of the day, we really do need to make sure that we've got our franchisees out being that person and shaking the hands and kissing the babies and doing all that sort of stuff to give a true emotional connection to the brand, which has also kind of been a theme of what's been shared so far.
Yeah, that's great. And I talked on this I have open franchise hours, and people were asking, what do we call the person that goes and is comfortable door knocking? Is it a salesperson? Is it a marketing person? I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Call them what you want. but they got to be able to sell and close to some extent, because if they don't do it, you have to do it. So you got to kind of put it that way, where it's like, do I really want to hire a salesperson? Probably not. But do you also really want to do it yourself? You got to, make those choices so that you're constantly working on the business and not in the business. Aisha, I'm sure you've said that a million times, and I hate calling you last, but like, you are the operation guru. So how are you coaching your clients and franchises to continue their marketing into 2023? Because I know some people have really pulled back on spends. They're scared of a recession, or they don't have the employees, or, they don't want to turn down sales, so they turn off their marketing, which is never the answer. So what are some trends you're seeing there?
It's funny that you say that, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Franchisees have gone through a lot this past couple of years. I mean, franchisors too, everybody has gone through a lot the last, 2-3 years. And now with the inflation and everything that they have gone through with the staffing and the rising cost, and not knowing what's going to happen next year, you're right. Sadly, one of the first things to go is marketing, and that should be one of the last things to go. And so what we work with our clients are specifically in 4 things. First of all, things that, many of the people in the panel already mentioned. You got to be more personal. I always tell them, look, the franchisor, even when you pay the marketing fees, they're going to be doing regional and national marketing. They're not going to come to your neighborhood, knock on people's doors and ask them to come buy from you. That is your job, and so local store marketing is critical, and it has to be as personal as you can possibly be, because the people that are going to win in 2023 are the ones that are going to be more personal with the consumers. Right now, everything is on the phone, everything is remote, everybody, is from, home, and that personal connection people are really, truly craving and missing. And so the people that do, go into that, and get as personal as possible are going to win. And when I mean by personal, I'm talking about email lists. They're gold right now. If you have a business or you are in an industry where you can have your customer email based list, that's gold. And anything that you do, from live videos and connections and being present is going to be very important. So be more personal. The second one is be more consistent, because sometimes, we have a campaign, we do something out there, and then we don't do anything for 3 weeks. And then we do a little bit something, and then we don't do anything for 3 weeks. And then that's not consistent. For you to win, you have to be top of mind consistently, top of mind awareness with your potential customers. The third thing we say, you got to be more strategic. Start with your franchisor's calendar. Find out from your franchisor what is the marketing calendar for the next quarter, see what they're doing, and fill in the gaps. Don't double down on something that your franchisors are already spending time, money, and resources. They're going to be weeks that are dark, that you can then spend your time, money, and effort, and that way you can fill those gaps, and you don't see the down trends when there's no activity going on. And so you got to be more strategic in what you do and how you do it, and how you spend the money that you absolutely need to spend, and you should have a budget for it. And the last thing that we actually tell our clients, our franchisee clients, and we teach them is, you got to do smart offers. You really had to do a good offer forensics and understand what is the financial impact of what you're promoting. Sometimes you're going to promote something that you may lose money, but as long as what the goal of that is that while you are losing money in that particular window, if you know that it's going to turn around and give you increased transaction counts, the next months, then it's worth it. You have to be very aware of what you're doing, and not just throw things at the wall and see what sticks. You really need to be able to understand what works, analyze the information, talk about the numbers, that Glenn speaks. You have to see the numbers, and build a library of activities, local store marketing activities that actually do help, and reach out to your franchisor, because franchisors, they know a lot. They have library information. They have graphics and tools that they can provide to support you in your local marketing efforts. Don't waste them. Take advantage of that. That's why you are in a franchise network. The only thing that I would say is that I wish more franchisors allowed franchisees to own their social media platforms. I mean, not completely, obviously the franchisor has to have oversight, but there are some franchisees that do have the ability to use the social media platforms, and a lot of franchisors are not giving franchisees that ability. So And the last thing is you have to market. Those who market less will lose. So next year is not the time to reduce your budget for marketing. You have to have it, and you have to do it, spending it the right way. So that's what we do.
And I love that. And I love the consistency there, because I just started a new brand, Closetivity, and we've seen this trend, which I'm sure a bunch of people have seen lately on Facebook. We're getting crazy traffic and great click-throughs and very low conversions. And yes, I've changed the graphics and the landing pages, and one of our operators' first instincts was, well, let's just shut off the marketing and we'll turn it on in January and we'll go from there. But that's not how it works. You need to be consistent. You need the ramp up periods. And then to your point, the offers need to make sense. I made a sale and was like, look, honey, I sold a closet. I'm awesome. And he's like, that's great. We just lost money on the deal that you gave them. I was like, well, this is why I'm not in operations. So, if you're not careful, making sure that your marketing and operations are melding, molding, whatever that word is, together well. Ashley, stop laughing at me.
Pregnancy brain,
words all the time. Is super important. And Aisha, I'm going to just have you keep going to our final point is, what is your professional New Year's resolution? Because as a franchise extraordinaire, you've built a career on helping others achieve success. So how are you going to build on that for 2023?
When I first founded the Academy 6 years ago, we had a single purpose, and that was really to protect the American dream of business ownership through franchising. And we just build on that every year. Our 2023 word is team. And we're going to be focusing on not only expanding our team at the Academy, expanding instructors, and expanding, the people that are supporting us in this scaling our organization, but also development, communication, et cetera, things that we need to work on and focus on for us. But in the same token, we are doing the same thing with the franchisees. The Academy was initially founded just focusing on helping franchisees grow into a multi-unit enterprise. That's our flagship program. And that's what we've been doing for 6 years, helping those franchisees grow into multi-unit. And as they have grown, then they started asking us for the next thing for them, which is, as you grow a multi-unit, is, you have district managers. How do we train district managers? And so 2 years ago, we launched the District Manager Training Program that has been amazing. And as we close our second year for that program, and obviously continue to do that, that's the second signature program. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 years. And now they're asking us to go to the next level, expanding in the team. We're going to unit managers. So the focus for us for 2023 is we're launching in the first quarter a leadership and business management development program for unit managers to help our franchisees, because franchisors provide all the training, support, tools, and resources for them to be able to duplicate the brand, product, service, image, marketing, not the management business side. And so that's what we're going to give the franchisees. So for us, 2023 is all about team and helping develop their unit managers into being great leaders and business profitability management in their units. And so that's what we're doing. We're very excited about that. And if I may, actually, the district manager training class for the winter starts January. So if you want to learn more about the district manager program, all you do is go to districtmanagertraining.com. The unit manager will be announcing in the first quarter next year when that may be. But that's what we're focusing on, and we're very excited about it. And we're looking forward for 2023.
Well, that's awesome. And I very, very much hope that I fit your ideal customer or client profile, because I'll be sending all of my managers and unit managers your way. I think that is something that is a huge gap in this space, and it's great to hear someone filling it. Ashley, What about your professional New Year's resolution, aside from just always being a boss? Always being a boss.
Thanks. I'm looking for tips on how to achieve this, but mine is to get better at managing my calendar to be able to get more things done. I think in the world that we live in now, like, so we don't at Streamline, we don't have an office, we're 100% virtual. And I think that leads to the fact that everybody thinks we need to have more meetings. And all the back-to-back meetings where you don't even have time to eat or stand up or go get water. I often find myself trying to shoot off emails and answer things at 10 o'clock at night. And then I feel guilty that, people are going to see it and think they need to respond at that time. They don't. I'm just trying to clean out my email because I don't have time during the day. So I'm going to try and get better at that and figure out some sort of a solution where I have more time during the day. So I'm not that person sending emails in the middle of the night and then people thinking that, I don't want to put pressure on their time and all of that. So I'm going to work on that. And then I think in working on that, that will also help just, the team as a whole, because in doing that, I'm going to have to get better at continuing to delegate to the team and giving them those growth opportunities. So that's my plan. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try.
That's awesome. And I feel like everyone feels that now that we're remote. If there's a space on your calendar that's open, they're like, she's free. And you're like, well, that's 2 a.m., but I guess I technically am free. So
Right.
That's awesome. And I hope you find a solution because I too need that. Glenn,
I will share it if I do.
you?
If anybody has any ideas, let me know.
Drop them in the chat. Glenn, what about you?
Well, I believe that 2023 is going to present some unique challenges, just like the last 3 years have presented to us. And I really believe that the people, the franchisors, the franchisees that are going to win are the people that continue to invest, obviously, in marketing, but also doing the little things in terms of developing people, not taking shortcuts in developing people. And so personally and professionally, I've just kind of come up with 2023. I wanted to be hyper focused on excellence. And I know that sounds broad, but specifically, even with a team that I'm fortunate enough to lead here, creating a culture of excellence and just going above and beyond. And I believe it's going to pay tremendous dividends in 23. And I feel good about us taking the next step in terms of reaching that goal. Not that you ever arrive at that, but we're going to short try. So.
I love that. And I love that it's, focus on the little things, because I think it's so easy as a franchisor to always say, what's the big level thinking, the out of the box. And sometimes your answers are, right in the details. And rounding us off, Angela, I don't know what else you could accomplish, but what are you planning to do in 2023?
Well, there's a couple things that came to mind for me. One of them is, I just had a baby earlier this year and I have a 2-year-old. And so I'm still working on figuring out the best way to manage excelling professionally and excelling as a mom without having a shadow of guilt one way or the other about whatever I'm doing with my time. So anyone, I'm welcome to accept tips in that regard, but I think part of it's just giving myself a little bit of grace in that area. But the other thing that comes to mind to me really on the professional front is there's a mantra that I like that is every time the first, and it's all about every time you do something for the first time, it tends to be really exciting and you're really fascinated about doing it. Like the first time you drive a car, it's really exciting and a cool new thing. And then it just becomes a part of your routine. You're driving, there's nothing really special about it. And I feel like that's what happens every time we launch a new brand or acquire a new brand or something like that. We dig deep and we're going through all this information and analysis to get deep into the industry, deep into, a bunch of new ideas and that sort of thing. And then as things progress and the brands grow, sometimes we fall into a bit of a routine with certain things. And so one of my goals is to not just take that tactic with new brands and new projects, but to kind of try to prevent myself from falling into a routine and just doing some of the same things over and over, whether it be with marketing projects or with the team or anything like that, but to kind of more often look at things with fresh eyes.
I love that. And I think it's so true that when you get into your routine, it becomes very mundane, and then you end up adding new things to be excited about, and then you end up like Ashley and there's no time on your calendar. So get excited about the stuff that you're doing. I have to run errands after this, probably to CVS, and I'm going to be really excited to drive my car to CVS just like the first time. Well, that's great. And I think that it's so relatable for myself. I think for the resolution, I just want to continue the trend of connecting franchise executives and franchise marketers. I think a couple of years ago, this was like a foreign concept, and really seeing it take off this year is incredible. And being able to talk to different brands and have them have each other as a support system is important, because for franchising, you know, we really are all in this together, which leads me to do a little promo for Promo Republic. They have just launched their custom audit. So if you're interested, scan the code and you'll get an online visibility report for up to 10 locations of your choice. This shows SEO, social, and reputation management. I think what's really important here is that they're not just giving you like a holistic view. They'll actually, you know, you can select your top 5 and your bottom 5 or your mid 10 and see really where the gaps are and the deltas, in hopes to create, you know, higher visibility for your entire platform. So definitely check them out there. And then a little bit more on the fun point, kind of expanding on what I was just talking about. They want to continue this communication and camaraderie in the, you know, the CMO franchise space. So they are giving away 3 $50 Amazon gift cards. All you have to do is share your 2022 franchise takeaway on your LinkedIn page, tag some of your friends, and add the hashtag franchise community takeaway 2022 to your post. And then they will announce the winners on December 21st. So if you're like me, you love Amazon, you love free stuff, and you love franchising, so this is an easy win. And of course, if you want to connect with any or all of us, here are our QR codes. LinkedIn is a great way to stay connected. And of course, we're all parts of different groups, and happy to stay connected that way. But everyone, thank you for joining in. I know we're going to give you a couple minutes back of your day. Ashley, maybe it's just ending early, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start a trend.
I like it. I like it.
But thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I'm sure we'll see you before the end of the year, if not in 2023.
How about this? Happy holidays.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.